Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm Chris, and thank you to everybody who joined during the Loki Episode 3 watch party last night. I had an absolute blast as always, and we actually got some of our first members for the channel. That's right, members are now live. You can join the channel to support, to get a badge during live chats, and to get some exclusive emotes. But we're also here to talk about Loki. The episode that dropped last night, episode 3, had an extremely important detail. And yes, I know I've talked to a lot of you guys, and I hear that you were a little bit bored during last night's episode. It left us on a huge cliffhanger that left a little bit of unrest and disappointment. But guys, next episode, episode 4, is going to be all the more exciting because of the anticipation. And I think there were so many hidden details and plot points that pushed Loki into the next part of the entire series, that pushed us forward, that gave us answers, that opened up doors to new questions and new possibilities. But on top of all of it was the fact that the TVA was exposed in this episode. One of the most important details to have happened in the Loki series so far, other than maybe the explanation of the multiverse and the signs that literally were showing the multiverse in madness, this detail saying that the TVA isn't everything that we thought it was, or that even they think it is going to be groundbreaking moving forward, and I'm going to explain why in this video. Be sure to subscribe, guys. All major movie and television news, franchise, Star Wars, Harry Potter, DC, Marvel, happening here on this channel. Reactions, reviews, theories, spoilers, all of it's going to be here. So hit that subscribe button. Also, we're giving away an And a Seat chair. All you need to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and comment on the videos. We'll be picking a random winner. And if you want a second chance to enter the giveaway, all you need to do is follow me on Twitter at TheCultureChris. Good luck, guys. So, Loki Episode 3. Yeah, I covered it was a little bit underwhelming for a lot of you guys, but follow with me here on what happened during this moment when Lady Loki, who was revealed to be called Sylvie by her own doing, and no, I still don't believe she's Enchantress, but you guys can all let me know that you think she is in the comment section down below. I am aware that the name is the same. I don't believe she's going to end up being Enchantress. I just don't. I think she is a lady variant of Loki, and we had a lot of really cool intimate moments in this episode to back that theory up. But we're here to talk about the scene when they're walking to get to what they called the Ark, which was an escape ship. And they were walking all the way out there, and they're kind of talking to each other a little bit about Sylvie's ability to read and take over the minds of the people who she enchants. And this is a magic skill that she taught herself, and Loki's trying to get a little bit of information on how to do it himself. It's a very useful ability that she uses frequently, and we haven't seen our Loki, male Loki, with the ability to do this up to this point. So he's asking her, trying to get it out of her a little bit, and she talks about how she dove into the mind of C-20, who was the Minuteman that she ended up taking, trying to get information about the TVA, how it was difficult because she had a strong mind, and she had to go all the way back to a memory from before she worked for the TVA. Immediately, Loki, confused, was trying to figure out what she meant by that, because Mobius, Owen Wilson's character, said that they were created to work at the TVA. They've never experienced anything outside of it, and we saw this again with the guy who didn't know what a fish was, because his entire life, to his knowledge, was spent at the TVA. All of the agents, the Minutemen, the workers, they all think they were created by the Timekeepers to work at the TVA for the Timekeepers, but it's not true. They were variants that were taken by the Timekeepers, brainwashed, and are now working as almost his slaves, or their slaves, in order to perform the strength of the TVA. This is not a small revelation. It actually has major implications moving forward in the series, especially since we know Owen Wilson has a slight obsession with old-style soda pop and jet skis. This is probably some type of unlocked memory from his past, from his life before he worked for the TVA, and he doesn't realize it because of this brainwashing happening that is keeping him from realizing he's something more than an agent for the TVA. And it also says to me, as an analyst, as a viewer, as a fan of Marvel, that Owen Wilson's going to have a happy ending where he is released from this brainwashing trance and is able to ride a jet ski while drinking soda and rides off into the sunset. I fully believe that's what's going to happen with this character, which also for me tells me that the TVA will probably become dismantled at the end of this series. So very, very important details to take away from this episode. And the fact that the TVA is going to become unraveled means to me, again, even more that they must be in the quantum realm. Now, they might not specifically be this quantum city that we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp. It might be somewhere else. But in the quantum realm, people will develop powers, and any of these agents that return to their timeline might have some mutant abilities. And this is a theory of mine, no confirmation or leaks or anything, just a personal thought, but that could be how they introduce the mutants into the MCU moving forward past where we are now. All of these millions of agents who have been working in what I presume to be the quantum realm for who knows how long will develop these abilities, just like Janet Van Dyne, who developed abilities while she was in the quantum realm for all those years. And we're going to see very similar DNA structural changes to these members who are returned to their timelines, these variants who are returned to their timelines, and maybe that is where the mutant gene will be created. Like I said, a huge theory, but makes sense in my mind, especially if the TVA is dismantled and all of these characters who do survive, maybe all of them won't survive, maybe a handful of them will survive, and there, mutants are formed. I also want to talk about a second theory I have that comes from the very end of the episode. While they're running to the Ark and the planet they are in is getting destroyed, a huge pillar falls over. At this time, Loki says, "I have it," turns around and almost reverse throws it back up. Now, it's a very unnatural scene as we don't see any of the glowing green abilities. It's something different from what we've seen Loki do with his magic in the past. Now, it's 100% something he's capable of doing. It's within his magic ability to control a pillar and to throw it back. But it looked like it was reversed. Like it fell and it returned exactly the way it fell, and this kind of pulled a pin with me. It makes me think, how or why would they show this specific part where Loki's going to jump down and reverse this pillar back? It seemed very specific and was a little too casual to just be added in. I think it's possible, and follow me on this theory, that Loki has taken some of or one of the Infinity Stones from the drawer, and that he's able to use them in these different timelines where he's at. And one of these stones was the Time Stone, and he reversed the pillar using the Time Stone. There's no question that Loki is 100% capable of using the Infinity Stones. We've seen him use multiple different ones. He knows about them. He knows how they work. So if he had the Time Stone, he would be able to reverse this pillar. On top of that, he would be able to reconstruct the time pad, which we saw was broken and was either an illusion in order to make Sylvie trust him, or it was part of his scheme and he can use the time stone to reverse engineer and fix the time pad, which will be how they escape. Because their plan to hijack the Ark fell apart at the very end of the episode, and that was the cliffhanger we were left on. They're on this planet and they're about to die with no way to escape. So they're going to have to figure out a way to fix the time pad, or I suppose the TVA could show up and try to capture them, but they actually use that to escape. That seems a little too easy for me, and I like the idea of Loki being Loki, stealing the Infinity Stones, using them for his benefit, and that really fits the whole mold of who Loki and what a Loki is, which is the main question of this entire series. You can expect him to do the unexpected, and I think that might be what we end up seeing moving into the next episode. And who knows, down the line, maybe this same time stone ends up in the hands of Doctor Strange, who is desperately going to need it in the Multiverse of Madness movie, especially with what we've learned from this Loki series. Those are the main highlights from this episode, guys. I'll walk through it real quick for you before we finish this video. It starts off where it left off in the second. He goes through the portal and follows Madam Loki, who we know is named Sylvie, into the TVA. Quickly, they end up leaving the TVA as they get cornered, and Loki teleports them to a different apocalyptic site, and they go there and they realize they don't have enough battery in the time pad to return. So they're on a planet that is going to die, going to kill everybody that's on it with 0 survivors, and they don't have a way to leave. So they go off to find a power source. Now, during this whole journey, we see a lot of bonding between female Loki, Sylvie, and our Loki, because, well, they don't really have a choice. Partly, they think they're going to die. At least Sylvie does. I still think Loki has a trick up his sleeve. And there's a little bit of relation going on there. They're getting very intimate with each other. Yes, kind of in a flirtatious way, which I don't think I'm completely against. And also just with details. We see an intimacy of Loki male Loki that we've never seen before, even with Mobius when he was so vulnerable in the first episode. He opens up about his love life. He opens up about what made him who he is, his mother, his powers, his abilities, his childhood, things we haven't seen Loki ever talk about. And it was really cool to see that as they think they're going to die, or Sylvie thinks they're going to die, or whatever happens, being able to talk to somebody who is you in all sense of the matter, for me, really does give a vulnerability that we saw throughout this episode that was really cool. We then get that revelation that Loki wants to learn how to be a little bit more like Sylvie with her abilities, the enchanting abilities, and then we get the TVA timed bomb where we find out none of them actually are created by the Timekeepers, and that was the whole purpose of this episode, was to discuss that very important main point as it happened. So moving on from there, they go to the city trying to get to the Ark to escape. Their plan is to hijack it, but it ends up exploding in front of them, and they know, well, they're in trouble. And that's how the episode ends. So we're on a huge cliffhanger. They're kind of on this planet. It was very underwhelming in the sense that it didn't feel like we got a lot of information, but I really enjoyed it. I think we did get a ton of information. There were a lot of things we need to go through and fine comb in order to truly understand. And looking back on this episode, I think we'll realize there were a lot more reveals than we have even gotten up to this point in the series. And most importantly, all of them are big picture reveals for the future of Phase 4 and for Marvel. I think moving into Multiverse of Madness and moving into Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, we are going to really start to open up from what was given to us in the basis of this series and get a ton of super cool answers. Let me know your guys' thought of this episode. Again, try not to be too harsh on it. It was very important with the details that they gave us. And I think, like I said, we'll find a lot of answers were given to us in this episode moving forward. But you can let me know what you guys thought, what you saw, what you noticed. Love hearing all of your guys' comments. Thank you to everybody who watched till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, be sure to subscribe to the channel and consider checking out our other social media, TikTok, Twitter, Discord, all in the comments section down below and in the description. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.